Hi viewers, my name is Alex Ibe, and today I'll be talking about the part 2 of the drilling operations in the oil and gas sector. Remember the first thing I taught us was an introductory into drilling operations in the oil and gas sector, and I promise to take it in stages, step by step, step by step, to break it down to a layman's understanding. And remember, as I said, this is me giving back to the society. And today is the part 2, and the part 2 we'll be talking about pre-mobilization and full mobilization process in the oil and gas industry. Now, this session is basically for young engineers, technicians, or anyone who wishes to gain a career in the oil and gas industry, specifically wellhead installations and maintenance engineering. Now, the part 2, like I said, is pre-mobilization and full mobilization. Now, I have a rundown of what I'm going to teach us today, what I'm going to explain to us today. Now, the first thing during pre-mobilization and full mobilization stage is, number one, is well site inspection. Okay, it could be land, it could be swamp, it could be offshore. Then the second thing there is mobilization of drilling companies to site location. Then the rules of the oil drilling companies in this operation is very paramount. Then the third thing we shall look at today is the service companies to contractors, the role they play in the drilling operations. Now, the fourth thing we're going to look at today will be pre-mobilization of service company. Then the fifth one will be full mobilization of service company to well site location. So, like I said, I'm going to take it stage by stage. I'm going to break it down to a layman's understanding. Now, pre-mobilization stage. What is pre-mobilization in the oil and gas industry? The pre-mobilization stage refers to preparatory phase before deploying equipment, personnel, and resources to project site, typically in industries like oil and gas. So I'm not talking about construction, but I'm talking about the oil and gas industry at this stage. It ensures that all necessary arrangements, documentation, logistics are in place to start operations efficiently, safely, and in compliance with the regulations. So there are key components of pre-mobilization stage. So I'm going to break it down step by step to understand what I'm talking about. Now, the first one in this pre-mobilization stage is what we call the project planning and preparation. Like I said, project planning and preparation. Now, the first thing is what? To define the scope of work. Okay? When you say to define the scope, it simply means clearly outline the project objectives, timelines, deliverables, develop detailed work plans, and assign responsibilities. Okay? And the second phase is resource allocations. What will you do? They identify and prepare the required equipment, tools, materials, personnel for the project. Ensure all resources meet project specifications and standards. Now, this is where that's what we call. Remember, we have we have the owners of the project. Okay, we have the owners of the project, and we have the host. Okay, the host is the drilling company in this case. So we have the service contractors or service companies who also plays a vital role in the drilling process. So it all involves a whole lot of companies offering different types of services at different stages of the drilling operations. Okay, so everything has to do with preparation. Okay, now we're still talking about the pre-mobilization stage. Now, the second thing to do is what we call the risk assessment and mitigation. The risk assessment and mitigation. One, hazard identification. Now, they will conduct a risk assessment to identify potential hazards at the site or during transport. So, all these things will need to be put in place for the expert to come up with mitigation plans. Two, to develop control measures to mitigate any risks based on what I call the job safety analysis. So there's always a risk assessment before any tax is done in the oil and gas industries. And not just risk assessment, after coming up with this assessment, they will also prepare mitigation measures or control measures to mitigate this risk. Now, the next thing there is emergency preparedness. One, what is that all about? Establishing emergency response plans and ensure all team members are familiar with them. Provide, emergency equipment such as first aid kits and fire extinguishers. This is where the health and safety experts come in. Okay, they have trained health and safety experts representing the client, also health and safety experts representing the drilling companies, and these two come together to work for the safety of everybody on board the location. Now, the third one we'll talk about is personnel readiness, training and certifications. Now, very, very important, very, very vital. Ensure that all team members have the necessary qualification, training, and certification. They conduct refresher courses or site-specific training if needed. Now, that's what we call health and fitness check. Now, this is all about verifying that all personnel meet the physical medical requirement for the project. So it's going to be project specific. So you are not going to be allowed to come into any location without going for medical examination to ensure that you are medically fit to work on that location. You don't have any hidden illness that could hamper the success of that project. So it's very, very vital in the oil and gas that all personnel that will be deployed to any well site must undergo a rigorous medical evaluation to ensure that they are fit to carry out any tasks at the location. The next thing is equipment inspection and testing. Okay, pre-deployment inspections. Inspect all machineries and tools to ensure they are in good working condition. Test critical systems such as engines, hydraulic systems, safety devices. And remember, at the pre-mobilization stage, what the principal owners of the well do is they will send a call out information to service companies or contractors, telling them that this is the type of project we want to. This is the size of the wellhead we want to install at this location A, B, C. We are going to drill 3 different wells, and these are the sizes of the wells, and this is the type of Christmas trees that or well system that will be required to install on those wells. Now, remember, we have people coming in as wellhead experts. We have the drilling companies. We have logging companies. We have different companies playing different roles on the same site. Drilling operation is not just a one company thing. It involves a whole lot of companies that offer different services. So is everybody coming together to achieve a set goal? Now, compliance check. Confirm that all equipment complies with relevant standard regulations and client specifications. Remember, for every equipment to be allowed to be mobilized to any location, they will send what we call QC, quality control expert. They will send what we call they will send their representatives to visit the service companies or contractors to ensure that all the equipment they mobilize to site are in good working condition and they meet up with the industry standard, and they have been serviced. If they are serviced, they will go to the service record to check that everything has been prepared for that operations. Then they also go through what we call personnel certifications. So how many personnel are you deploying to our site? Okay, we need 5 engineers. The 5 engineers, they'll have to go through their training records to ensure that these guys are trained to carry out such tasks. Okay. Now the next one is what we call logistics and transportations. Okay. Remember, I'm talking about pre-mobilization and full mobilization stage in the drilling operation. Now, one is route planning. Okay, plan transportation route for equipment and personnel to ensure timely arrival at the site. Account for permits and road conditions and site accessibility. That's what we call now for any vehicle bringing equipment to the site, the vehicle, it could be truck, it could be whatever it is, must be pre-mobbed, okay, to ensure that it's not going to be a hazard to the environment, and to make sure that it is fit for purpose. Then all these things will be documented, okay? All these things will be documented. So that is it. Then the next thing we'll talk about today is the next thing is preparing and organizing shipping manifest, customs clearance if required, and equipment inventory. So what they do is, if okay, let me talk about my own field now, the surface wear systems. So what they do is the company reaches us and says, look, we want to install a dual completion warehouse systems. This is the size of the Christmas tree we want. This is the size of the tree hanger we want. Now, they will give us enough time, okay, to prepare those equipment. If they are not in country, we do what? We send an email to our head office, okay, where this equipment are manufactured, telling them that client ABCD will be needing ABCD type of Christmas tree for project A at location Z. Okay. Now, this equipment will be prepared, will be manufactured, okay, and shipped down to the countries. Now, the principal owners of the world, they want to see this document to ensure that yes, everything is done as said. Okay. Now, the next thing is what I call the site specific preparation. Very, very vital. Very, very important. You cannot just go to any site and start drilling without doing what we call well site inspection. Like I said initially, that we have different types of well site. We have the swamp, we have the land, and we have the offshore. When it comes to offshore, we have the shallow waters and we have the deep offshore operations. So site survey. So what are we talking about? You say conduct a site visit to evaluate conditions, layout, and logistical requirement. Identify any specific hazard or challenges that might impact mobilization. Now remember, if you are going for a site visit as a wellhead engineer, it could be a maintenance job. Now that's what we call site inspection, well site inspection. So the well site inspection is, if it is a maintenance job, they will send an engineer to visit the location. It could be an existing location. Now your job there is to confirm the information given to us, the service provider, by the owners of the well, that what they said in information is correct. Okay, know what and what we have on site, know what is lacking on site. No, it could be that some of the well components have been vandalized. So you know the sizes starting from section A, section B, section C, down to completions. You know what and what are not there anymore. Then you take note of all these things, then get back and prepare your report for mobilization. Okay. Now, after that, the next thing is establishing base camps to facility. Okay, set up accommodation, storage facility, and other necessary infrastructures outside. Remember, when we talk about setting up or establishing a base camp or facility, if it is a land operations, you know, it involves the caterers, it involves those that provide accommodation, it involves security personnel that will guide the place. A whole lot is involved in setting up a base camp, you know, to make it a safe place for workers to live and carry out their various tasks. Then the next thing is what we call regulatory and client compliance. Okay, we have a regulatory body guiding all the oil and gas operations, and it is our we owe it as a care of duty to ensure that everything meets the standard as stated in the regulatory gazette. Now that's what we call permit and approval. Now, before you carry out any tax, before you carry out any drilling, you must have a permit and approval from the regulatory body before you do that. To secure unnecessary permits, licenses, approval from authorities and stakeholders. Now, that's what we call client coordination. Okay, client coordination simply means you align with the client on project requirements, schedules, and site-specific protocols. Okay. Then when that is done, the next one is what we call the communication and reporting stage. Okay. Communication and reporting stage. Number one is briefing section. Okay. You conduct what we call pre-mobilization meeting to communicate project details, safety protocols, and responsibilities. Remember, at this stage, the the owners of the project will invite all the stakeholders. We invite all the service companies, the drilling companies, those that will provide one services or the other, to a meeting. Okay. Now you come up with your mobilization plan. You come up with your equipment list. You come up with documentation of your certification and inspection. If it has to do with equipment. Now we'll all sit together and go through the drilling program and make our various contributions as individual companies. Okay. Then after that, the next one is what we call reporting structure, which is to establish a reporting chain and ensure clear communication channels between teams. So what we now do is there will be a secured email that all the service rep supervisors or lead engineers will be submitting their day-to-day report to the company reps. Okay. Now the next thing is I would like to talk about the importance of pre-mobilization stage. Okay. The pre-mobilization stage is critical because one, okay, because one, it minimizes delays. Okay. It minimizes delays. What I mean by minimizing delays, by addressing logistical, technical, and regulatory issues beforehand, reducing downtime. Okay, the next one is it enhances safety. Okay, by identifying, mitigating risks, ensuring a safe work environment. It also improves efficiency, streamlines operations by planning and organizing every aspect of the mobilization process. Now, it fosters compliance, ensures all actions align with legal, regulatory, and contractual requirements. Okay, so that is all about the pre-mobilization stage. And the next thing I would like to talk about now is the full mobilization stage. Okay, I've talked about the pre-mobilization stage. Now I want to talk about the full mobilization stage. Now, what is full mobilization? The full mobilization stage refers to the phase in a project where all necessary resources, equipment, personnel, and materials are deployed to work site and operations are prepared again. The operations are prepared to begin in stages. Okay, this stage involves transportation, assembling of equipment for the operation, and verifying the readiness of all components to ensure the project can start efficiently, safely, in compliance with predefined plans and regulations. Okay, so it's a whole process. It's not just a one-day thing. It comes in stages. Okay, it has the first stage, second stage, third stage, until it gets down to the full operation properly. Okay, now in full mobilization stage, we have key components. Number one is what I call the resource development. Okay, resource development, which simply means transportation of equipment and materials. Okay, moving heavy machinery, tools, and materials to well site. Okay, ensuring proper handling to prevent damage during transit. All these things will be accounted for. It's not just go do it. It has processes. It has procedures to be followed. Okay, personnel mobilization. Now, deployment of trained and certified personnel to the project location. very, very important. Any location, any any personnel that will be deployed to the location must be trained, must be certified to carry out that task. Okay, and they would like to see the training documents to accept that in the first place. Now, ensuring accommodations, food, and transportation are arranged if needed. Okay, we also have caterers on board that we cater for our stomach. You know, it's not just walk, 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 walk. All work and no play. They say makes Jack a dull boy. So it's all about it's all about you know taking care of the job and also taking care of yourself. So the two goes in tandem. So the next thing is set up, site setup or site setting up and preparation. One, assembling of equipment. Okay. Now, like I said, it comes in stages. The first stage, they will invite the companies involved in the first phase of the project. If it is drilling of the conductor, the hole for the conductor pipe, now they will mobilize the company. They will come before the kickoff day to prepare their tools, ensure that everything they need for that job is on site. Okay. Now they will assemble them. Okay. They will do equipment checks. Assemble and position equipment such as rigs. If it is offshore, if it is land as well, if it is swamp, we have jackups rigs, we have drill ship rigs, we have semi-submersible rigs, we have submersible rigs. So it depends on the locations. Okay, set up cranes, scaffolding, and at designated locations. These things has to be put in place before operation will start, so that people will work safe. Now, the next thing is to verify that the equipment is installed as per manufacturer specification and project plan. So everything must be as required by the project coordinator or project engineer or project managers. Okay, you will not do things out of your own thinking. You must follow the set plan, the plan that has been prepared already for the project. And the next thing to do there is to establish temporary infrastructure. Okay, like set up site, office, storage facility, workshops, and welfare areas. For example, washroom, restrooms. Where the workers will have some good times, and also ensure that utilities like electricity, water, and communication systems are operational. So all this falls under the full mobilization stage or process. So the next one is equipment and system checks, or you say functionality testing. Now, it's all about testing of machineries and tools to confirm they are working, properly, they're in good work condition. Now, you calibrate the system. For example, the drilling equipment, the pump sensors, to ensure accuracy. All these things must be calibrated to ensure accuracy. Now, inspection and certification. So individual companies on site will conduct safety inspections to ensure all equipment meets regulatory and site-specific standards. Obtain necessary certification for specialized equipment. I've said this before. It's still the same process. Okay. Now the next one, which is the fourth thing under full mobilization, is what I call the workforce integration. Workforce integration. That's the trained personnel that will be doing carrying out various tasks at various point in time. Now, on-site training and orientation. So there is a regular or daily training that takes place at every drilling location, more especially health and safety related training. Very, very important. And it's compulsory for everybody on board any rig at all. So one is to provide site-specific inductions covering safety protocols. I've said this before, work schedules, and emergency procedures, as the case may be. Now, familiarize personnel with the location of equipment, emergency exit, and assembly points. So they will show everybody where the assembly point or evacuation points are, where the safe haven is, and people will get familiarized with those points in case of emergency. Now, that's what we call team coordination. Okay, assign roles and responsibilities to team members. We'll also conduct initial briefings to align the workforce with project objectives and timelines. That's what we call operations meeting. Is done every day in the office of the company rep. So all the lead engineers or individual service companies representatives on site will attend that meeting. In that meeting, they discuss what the day's job is like. In that meeting, they discuss what to do and they ask questions to ensure preparedness, to ensure that everything is moving as planned. So the next thing is what we call the safety and security measures. Remember I said we have security personnel on board to protect life and properties in case of invaders. Okay, that's what we call hazard identification. That's what we call hazard identification and control. Okay, hazard identification and control is very, very important in this process. Okay, in this process. Now, in hazard identification and control or mitigation, you said one, the first thing we do there is we review site-specific hazard and ensure control measures are in place. The next thing is to verify that personnel protective equipment, PPE, is distributed and in use. So PPE is very, very important in the drilling industry, in the oil and gas industry. Very, very important. Like we also always say, we have a slogan that says, safety is everybody's business. So it's not just meant for the health and safety officer or for the health and safety manager or for the health and safety superintendent. It's everybody's business. So PPE is very important. If you don't wear your PPE, you will not be allowed to walk outside. Okay, so you must protect yourself and walk safe, not to endanger other people's life as well. The next one is what we call the emergency preparedness. If something happens, what should I do? How will I be informed? Okay, now we have what we call the test emergency response system, where a safety drill is conducted. Some is done weekly or randomly, to test the efficiency of the safety system on board. Okay, it's called test emergency response system, including fire alarms, spill kits, and first aid stations. Okay, then we ensure emergency drills are conducted. So emergency drills is just for us to see how people respond when there's an emergency. So after the training, they will conduct drills, and sometimes some drills are pre-informed, some are not informed. They just hit the bell and the alarm goes off, and they watch people turn out time and continue from there. Then access control. Okay, implement security measures to regulate the site access and protect equipment and material. Like I said, we also have security personnel on board to protect life and equipment. Okay, that is their job on board, to protect life and equipment. So those personnel, they are there, mixed up with the crowd. You wouldn't know them in most cases. Okay. Now the next one I'll talk about is what I call the stakeholder communication. The stakeholder communication. So who are these Who are these stakeholders? I'm talking about the client and contractor license. Okay. Now they provide updates to stakeholders on the progress of mobilization. Like I said, at the pre-mobilization stage, they will send mails to all the service contractors, telling them what the plan is, what they expect them to do, and there will be a synergy between the stakeholder and the client. Between the client and the contractors. Okay, there must be a synergy between them. There must be a communication between them. Okay, now this question we also help to address any concern or adjustments needed based on client feedback. So if you have any time issue, maybe they've given you time that next month, on the 5th of next month, you'll be mobilizing your first set of equipment. If there's anything that will pose as a constraint, you need to let the client know on time so that they can work on the scheduled programs. Okay, that will also help them to plan or to replan to accommodate you again. Now, regulatory communication. You notify local authorities and regulatory bodies about project commencement if required. At some communities, before you, whether you are a client, whether you are a service company, before you carry out any tax in their community, you must settle the host community. Okay, that is a common practice in most of these host oil and gas host community. Okay, now after when that is done, the next stage in the full mobilization process is what I call the project readiness assessment. Okay, which is one, the final inspections. Okay, just to perform comprehensive review of the site to confirm readiness for operations. The next one is to verify that safety, quality, and logistic requirements are met, that everything is in place, everything is ready, everything has been checked, inspected, and certified fit for use. Okay. Now that's what we call the sign off and handover. Okay, which is simply obtaining approval from the project manager or client to commence work. Oh, I've done this, I've done this check, I've done this check, I've done this, I've done that. This is ready, this is ready. These are the names of our crew. These are the list. This is the list of our equipment. These are the certification documentation. This has been done, so we are good to go. Okay. Then document the mobilization process for accountability and future reference. Okay. Now I want to talk about the importance of full mobilization. The importance is very, very important. We know this. Okay. Now the full mobilization stage is critical for ensuring the smooth start of a project. Key benefits, which simply includes number one, operational readiness; two, safety assurance; three, minimize delays; four, enhance efficiency; then five, regulatory compliance. All these are the importance of full mobilization. Okay, these are very, very essential when it has to do with full mobilization in drilling operation. Okay, so this is very, very important, very, very important when you are preparing for full mobilization. Now I want to talk about, remember, the first people to go to site is the drilling company. We have so many drilling companies. Okay, the drilling companies. Now the drilling company plays a very crucial role in the oil and gas industry by providing one, specialized services for the exploration, extraction, and development of natural resources. Okay, so I'm going to give us an overview of their responsibilities, what they do. Okay, the first one is um, exploration and resource identification. Okay, surveying and site assessment. They conduct geological and they conduct geological surveys to determine the presence of oil and gas or minerals. That's the work of the drilling company. The first thing they do, first task they do. Then the next thing is they analyze seismic data and evaluate well locations for optimal resource extractions. So when that is done, the next thing is the exploration drilling, which is the second phase. Okay, this simply means to perform exploratory drilling to confirm the presence of resources and estimate their quantity and quality. Okay, this comes under drilling operation as well. Now the next one is they analyze, like I said, seismic data and evaluate well locations for optimal resource control. Okay, so the next one I'll talk about is well design and planning. Okay, this comes under the role of the drilling company, well design and planning. Okay, now we have what we call the engineering and design. Okay, they simply collaborate with logistics and engineers to design well suited to the specific geology of the site. Remember, for every location, when the seismic data is collected, that will determine the kind of well system to install. Some locations are gas, so you cannot use non-gas compatible wellhead to install in such location. So we have gas compatible with warehouse system. Then we have the one that you can install in a location where there is no gas as well. So the next thing is to do is to ensure compliance with environmental regulations and safety standard. Now, talking about well design and planning, the next thing there is drill planning. Okay, when you say drill planning, it simply means to develop detailed drilling plans, which includes the casing, what type of casing, the casing size, mud systems, and pressure control measures. All this must be put into consideration. Okay, then optimize drilling techniques to maximize efficiency and minimize cost. Remember, you maximize efficiency, then you minimize cost. Okay. Then what again? What again? What again? What again? Then drilling operations. The drilling operations proper. Now that's what we call drilling execution. Okay, which simply means tells us how the rig operates and drill wells to the required depth and specifications. Also, how to manage various types of drilling, such as vertical drilling, horizontal drilling, directional drilling, or extended reach drilling. Okay, these are under drilling execution process. Okay, then after that, the next thing we talk about is equipment and rig maintenance. Okay, equipment and rig. Remember, I mentioned that we have different types of rig. We have the jack-up rig, we have the drill ship rig, we have the semi-submersible rig, we have the submersible rigs. We have different types of rigs, okay, that are used for oil and gas drilling based on the location. Okay. Now, where am I? I've talked about equipment and maintenance. Now, I said this simply ensures that all drilling equipment and machineries are properly maintained and they are all functional. Okay. It also helps to minimize downtime through preventive maintenance and quick response to all breakdowns. Okay. So when you maintain your equipment properly, when you maintain your machines, they are going to serve you properly. The next one is core sampling and logging operations. So this simply means to extract core samples and perform well logging so that they gather the data together and distribute the information as needed. Okay, simply means extract core samples and perform well logging to gather data about subsurface formations. Remember, in drilling, we have different types of formations before they get down to where the crude is. So this information helps the driller to know what he's doing. So the next thing is to provide data to support reservoir and evaluation and production planning. Okay. Then when all this is done, we'll now talk about health, safety, and environmental management. Health, safety, and environmental management play a very, very key and vital role in the drill operations. Okay, that's what we call health, safety, and environment standard compliance. Is a no for non-compliance. Okay, you must comply to the standards. Implement strict health and safety and environmental protocols to guide everybody working on board the rig or working at the location. Two, we conduct regular risk assessment and emergency drills to ensure workers work safely and prevent environmental damage. So there is need for regular health and safety training. There is need for regular risk assessment. Okay, because if you carry out your risk assessment properly, you also come out with control measures or measures to mitigate any risks identified. So it's very, very key. The next thing is environmental protection. Remember, we have environmental protection law. Okay, you don't discharge waste into the waterways. You don't do things that will affect nature or that affect the environment. So you ensure minimal environmental impact during drilling operations through the use of eco-friendly practices and technologies. Okay, so this is very important. Very important. You take note of this. Then you manage your waste, drilling fluids and emission responsibly. Manage your waste. Do not discharge. Do not dispose your waste into the environment. Okay, you must have a waste disposal company that will manage all waste generated at your drill site. The next thing is the well completion. Okay, the well completion. We talk about casing and cementing. Okay, casing and cementing. Remember, this is just pre-mobilization and full mobilization stages. Okay, I'm going to talk. Our part two. Part three will now be about the surface wellhead systems. Remember, I told you that I am not a subsea wellhead engineer. I am a surface wellhead engineer. So all I'm going to teach you will be about surface wellhead engineering. So our part three of this online teaching will be on wellhead systems, surface wellhead systems. Okay. Now back to where I stopped. Well completion. We talk about casing and cementing. Install casing and cement to stabilize the well bore and isolate production zones. Okay. Then ensuring well integrity to prevent blowout and other hazards. These are under casing and cementing. Then when that is done, the next stage is the well testing. Okay, the well testing is the next thing I want to talk about. Now I want to talk about well testing. It simply means to conduct pressure and flow tests to evaluate the productivity of the well. You need to evaluate it. You need to conduct a well test to evaluate it, to help you evaluate the flow, evaluate the pressure coming out from the well, evaluate what you have in the well, and know how productive the well is going to be. Sometimes you could drill, and at the end of the day, you won't see anything. So it become a problem. So the next thing is to provide data for reservoir management and production forecasting. Okay, production forecast to provide data for reservoir management and production forecasting. Then the 16 under this section that I want to talk about is maintenance and decommissioning. Maintenance and decommissioning. Now, maintenance of wells. This topic on its own is a very broad one. It's a very broad one on its own, and I'll take my time. I'll take it one step at a time, to explain, but not today, not in today's lesson. Now, maintenance of wells. Now, we perform interventions such as redrilling, sidetracking, or plugging to maintain productivity over a well's life cycle. So when we say well maintenance, that's what we call the plug and abandonment. That is it comes under plugging. You plug, then you drill and sidetrack, to another end zone and start producing. Then decommissioning is the next thing. Decommissioning simply means safely plugging off a well, an abandoned well, at the end of their productive life. So, some wells we produce for X amount of years, and afterwards they will stop production. So what we do is we do what we call plug and abandonment. So we plug the well, allow the well, then after years, then they revisit the well again and drill and sidetrack, okay, to another zone to see if something will come up. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is specialized services. So in drilling operation, we have specialized services. Okay. The first one is directional drilling. Okay. They use advanced techniques to reach targeted reservoirs that are not vertically aligned with the rig. Okay, the next service that is very, very vital in operation is what we call the mud and fluid management. Okay, this is designed to manage drilling fluids to maintain well stability, control pressure, and cool the drip bit. So this is a vital part of the drilling operation as well. Then the next thing is pressure control. To control the pressure coming out from the well. That's what we call the BOP, which simply means blowout preventers. Okay, so we use the BOP to prevent this. Okay, BOP is always installed on the string as a safety control measures. There's also other safety control measures that we also use, but the most used one and the most effective one is what we call the BOPs, okay, and other equipment to manage high pressure zones and prevent blowout. Okay, so the work of this BOP is if there is an upthrust of pressure, if there is pressure, sudden release of pressure coming up to the surface, they quickly shut in, the BOP, close it so it will isolate the zone, stop whatever that's coming from the well to the surface. It will create a barrier in between. Okay. Now, after the next thing I'll talk about today is collaboration and reporting, client interactions, data reporting, work closely with companies, contractors, and other stakeholders to meet project objectives. So this is one of the important things that must happen. There must be collaboration because we have different people from different walks of life, from different companies with different ideas, different experience coming together to render different services, and all these things must be done in tandem with each other, and there must be collaboration for us to achieve this at the website, and also report whatever we do. Very, very important. Whatever you do in the oil and gas rig site or work site or location must be documented, must be reported. Okay. Then the next thing I'll talk about is data and reporting. They provide detailed report on drilling performance, challenges encountered, and resource estimate. I'll talk more about that's what we call end of well report. Okay, end of well report simply means when you are done with your tasks, so you prepare your end of well report. So which includes the time of pre-mobilization, the time of equipment mobilization, the time of personnel mobilization, the arrival time, the time you started, what you do each day, the kind of tools you that was mobilized to the location, the jobs performed on site, the equipment used on site, the problems encountered on site, and the lessons learned from those problems. All will be in your end of well report. Okay. Now, when you get back to your base, that's what we call post well report evaluation. So then your managers or your manager, whoever you report to, will have a meeting with you. Then will go through your report and go through your challenges and see what to learn from them and how to go about it so that whatever it is that happened while you're on site will not repeat itself. Okay, so I've been talking. I've been trying to make good use of the time I have. That's why I'm rushing. So I've talked about pre-mobilization stage and full mobilization stage. So these two stages are the first and second phase in drilling operations. So in our part 3 of our teaching, I will go into warhead systems. I'll go into warhead systems. So please join me when next I'll be online to teach this. Remember, this is me giving back to the society. Bye bye and remain blessed.